So let me ask you a question. So to our group here, that how many mosques are there in America? What do you think?
Thousands.
1,000?
Thousands.
10,000. 10,000? You may have to do it to temper that number.
But if you,
Yeah.
the school teachers, so you
So,
guys
right. So there are 2,000 some mosques and Islamic centers in the country. And they did not come up overnight last night or after 9/11, and they have been building it over the years. And so the first wave, generally, it's just the common, so seems to that the knowledge is that maybe the Muslims appeared after 9/11 in America. And that is indeed not the case, including myself. But there were several waves of Muslims which had come to this country in the 60s, and prior to that, after the fall of the Ottoman Empire in the early 1900s. And even now, the historical records indicate that during the slave trade, Muslims were brought from Africa. And so in North Carolina, in some of the museums there, you have evidence of those Muslims carrying Quran and praying and the like. And even some have gone far beyond Columbus at the time that Muslims were present in America at that point. So again, these are all historical facts, but we choose not to know about them or to ignore them. At the same time, some of your beside other people, physicians in this country, more than 100,000 or 200,000 plus are from Muslim countries, and Dr. Boone, being a healthcare provider himself, knows about it on right and left that you would encounter those. And some of you may also see that your healthcare provider is potentially Muslim. Well, when you see that healthcare provider in a clinical setting, you are quite satisfied with him, and you trust him for his judgment, for his compassion, for his care, and that is what is manifested because of the religious beliefs that it brings in, and that is where the healing component comes in. That the provider is just a conduit to the final healing, of course, comes from God, and he is a conduit towards providing that healing. But when you see that physician praying or walking with you at O'Hare or Villiers or across the mall, you would, if you do not know that physician, you would treat him as a pariah or as an alien or somebody that who's maybe there to get you.
Yeah, I always thought being Muslims about selling pie and selling newspaper on the street corner.
Right, and there are those who exactly do that, and so there is.
And I like the pie.
So there are those who are on the upper end of the ladder, so to speak, and there are intellectuals, scientists, physicians, and the like, and there are the blue-collar workers who are running your cabs in New York and Chicago, and selling on the corner street, or running these mom and pop stores and the like. So what does that tell you? That tells you that they are there as part of the American fabric. They are part of the mosaic that American. And that is
what major political force. Did you say 8 million? That's at least 4 million votes. That's
right.
Enough to swing an election.
Right, exactly. But that's where the problem arises, that as soon as a Muslim stands for an election, then all of these connotations comes about, and all this the negativity arises, and all those issues then are brought to the table. And since we do not have other issues like Russia or anything else, so this is one soft the spot that you try to hit home. But again, it hurts me and those of us who are here, that it becomes kind of hypocritical.
Well, no, I actually don't really have a question. I have a comment. First part is there was a very interesting article which unfortunately I forgot to print off before coming here, which is actually rather typical of me forgetting. But it was in, I believe, in the Boston Globe from about 3 or 4 days ago, and it had to do with the history of Muslims and the relationship with Islam the early American history, talking about George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, and it was a very interesting article, excellent article, that basically talking to the forefathers had a great respect for the Islamic faith, and that that they actually had Thomas Jefferson actually, I believe, went so far as to try to learn Arabic because he had such respect for it, and which seems cruelly ironic when compared to these days, where there is, it appears to be, there is a great deal of, well, for lack of a better term, what has been called Islamophobia. And it's just, it seems crazy to me, which brings me to my other point, and I'll try to be brief, in that being a Muslim is nothing exceptional in that there are other religions, and I should, by the way, in point of honesty, I am an atheist, so I am not theistic at all. But I don't have anything necessarily against religions per se, just when they try to tell me what to do. But I mean, that we should somehow separate out this one faith out of all the various faiths that exist in the world, and focus such attention on it. It doesn't. People are imperfect. They do good. They do well. They do badly, and those people are of various faiths. You're going to find bad people who are Muslim. You're going to find good people who are Muslim. You're going to find bad people who are Christians. You're going to find good people who are Christians. You're going to, Jews, whatever, atheists. It seems as if we are spending way too much time focusing on this one aspect of people, which is their faith. Their faith does not necessarily define who they are. I mean, you're a well-rounded person. You are not just a faith. You are a human being who has many aspects. And it just seems that we're forgetting that.
I always heard when it's funny, it's money. We have to have something. Back when President Eisenhower talked about the military-industrial district. Back when I was a little kid, it was communism was a big deal. So all our focus was on communism. We used to have all kinds of drills in school where it was about that. There was a Birch Society, there was McCarthy, and all these other people did all these things focused on communism, and that drove the war machine. So in order to keep things going as far as the war, I'm a Vietnam veteran. They talked about the domino theory, where if Vietnam fell, then next thing we know, the communists would be in San Francisco. So 58,000 guys died, and I don't know how many hundred thousands of people suffered, came back from Vietnam mentally injured or in some kind of deficit because of some kind of ideology, about this is what we have to focus our war machine on. So what I'm trying to say is that, communism failed. We don't fear that so much. So now we have to have another thing to focus our energy on so that we can drive that machine. So right now, it's Islam.
I don't know
the next 10 years from now, it may be something else.
I don't know if it's necessarily a government or culture or what, but it does seem that there is a need, almost, a subconscious need to be victimized, to have something to fear, whether it be communists or Muslims or, well, the communists didn't invade San Francisco, so, the homosexuals, they're taking over, or the, whatever. I can say that, I'm homosexual. But it just seems that there's been a need, and it's gone through history of it's this group's fault. I can't make a wage or whatever because of of blaming someone else, or of finding some group or something to say that it's this, it's them.
But
And it just, I don't know.
But it takes away,
Doesn't make much sense.
anytime we have a focus away from each other, it eats up resources, which, money is one of them. The resources are each other. When we look at each other, we can't utilize people from Hindus or Muslims or Buddhists or Catholics or whatever. We're divided apart, so we can't realize how beneficial you are, or I am, or you are. I can't see that because you've got this picture of you that says I have to be skeptical about you. I can't trust you. I can't really appreciate
You're different,
your
so therefore
quality.
you're bad.
You're different. I remember, I'm citing how old I am. The original, the day the earth stood still, in the original black and white. This thing landed, and all of a sudden, they're throwing bombs and stuff like trying to blow this thing up. And this thing just came here because it was afraid of the earth. It had developed the hydrogen and atom bomb. It had the